Welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports, continuing coverage of Super Bowl 59 live here from Radio Row here at the New Orleans Convention Hall. And we are pleased to be joined by a legend in this area and with the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm, good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about some of the partnerships you got that you're working on. That's why you're here right now.
Yeah, one of the fun things about the city of New Orleans is that artists and athletes are its heroes. And so I thought, what better way to celebrate this kind of intersection than to throw the game of art, which essentially is me inviting some of my top artist friends, some of the renowned artists that I know around the world, bringing them here to the Super Bowl to, one, enjoy the festivities, go to the game, but also mingle with my former colleagues, with athletes, bringing Phillips Auction House in to teach athletes about collecting and investing in art, and really having conversations about the transformative powers of sports and art in communities and cities like this.
I'm curious your thoughts as a two-time Super Bowl winner. Won it with the Saints the one time they got it. You've also won it with the Eagles. The Eagles might win it again this weekend.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is a more impressive Super Bowl run, the two that you got, or maybe if the Eagles win it this weekend?
You know what? I think the most impressive run might have been the first Eagles Super Bowl, simply because we lost our MVP quarterback right before the playoffs.
True, it's a good point. Forget that.
Yeah, came into it as an underdog in every single playoff game, and still was able to take it home against Tom Brady, arguably the greatest of all time. So I think that storyline is going to be hard to beat. But I also think, I could see maybe Saquon being the MVP of the Super Bowl, this defense playing, and people like Zach Bond coming out of nowhere having huge seasons. They have plenty to talk about this team, and I think if they can bring it through, they will definitely give us a run for our money.
Having played for the Saints and the Eagles being in the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl here in New Orleans, is this sort of a special moment for someone like you because you get in the best of both worlds?
Oh, it's definitely the Matrix, coming together for me right now. I live in both cities, so to have the Eagles come into New Orleans during the Super Bowl all at the same time, it's perfect for me.
Let's talk about maybe some rule changes. You're obviously a defensive hitter. A lot of defensive players, while they love Patrick Mahomes, don't necessarily love some of the slide tackles that he gets away with. Yeah. Are you hoping from a defensive standpoint that there needs to be rule changes, not just to help the quarterbacks, but also so that way defensive players aren't getting tagged with these penalties that a lot of them say are unjustified?
Yeah, I think it's always tough to make the defender responsible for getting the ball carrier down and responsible for the ball carrier's health and wellness. Those two things are just always conflicting. And what we're seeing is that offensive players are taking advantage of those rules, whether they're sliding late or they're doing things that make these hits look crazy. It's like, if you're going to put yourself in harm's way, you should be responsible for the results. That's always been my philosophy as a defender. But I think it is unfair to put defenders in that position where they have to do both, especially when you're fining them and you're penalizing them and it's affecting the outcomes of games.
You have been very busy since you retired from the NFL in terms of media companies. You've got Listen Up that you've created as well, and you've got a bunch of other businesses that you're a part of. Let's start with Listen Up. Why was that important to sort of create this media company?
Yeah, while I was playing, I was growing very frustrated about the only platforms that I really had was social media or sports networks, right? Which I had to basically, I'm privy to whatever questions come my way. And I wanted a place to tell my own story, to tell stories, to use my voice the way I wanted to. So I started Listen Up Media as a way to do some storytelling and control my own narrative. And that's been something I really enjoyed doing since then. Like I said, I've been doing a bunch of businesses. My main thing is really franchising.
Let's talk about that, because I love this, because it's Disrupt Foods, right? Yeah. And so talk a little bit about this, because you own businesses from Wingstop to Papa John's to a bunch of locations, dozens of them. But these are also helping disenfranchised communities as well.
And so what we try to do is two things. One, I always want to have impact in the businesses that I have. So we've have 24 or 27 stores open between Papa John's and Wingstops. All of them are in communities of color. And so we're having impact with jobs and business there. But also what we're trying to do is educate athletes as well on the power of franchise. And I think athletes specifically in the franchise model have a unique ability because they are localized. localized, right? You have a market that is specific to you, and so is franchising. You have territory. And so what we want to do is teach athletes how to get into franchising the right way. So we started Athletes Franchise Partners, in which we educate guys on how to get into it. We pair them with operators to help make sure that their money is safe and they've got people that can execute it. And we've even helped guys who've been in bad situations and bad investments fix their things and get out of it. So for us, it's really been a passion project. Everything that I get into business-wise, I try to set up a vehicle for those around me to also participate, to get education and get involved.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Magic Johnson model. Magic did that in LA as well with the franchising. But one of my favorite things that you are part of in terms of your investments is English soccer.
Yeah.
Burnley FC.
Yeah.
Burnley FC second right now in the championship.
Yes, they are.
Are they making it back to EPL?
Hey, we need to get back. I think so.
Yeah,
it's looking good.
I'm feeling good about your guys' chances.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. We've been up, down, back up. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting back in that.
Any other weird investments that, or not, I wouldn't even say weird, but just other sort of different investments that maybe you want to be a part of or you would love to do?
I think right now for me, the food and beverage industry is really like, that's the cornerstone of what we do, but also looking to get more into sports teams in professional sports. We've seen athletes investing in WNBA, MLS, and the growth in those. And I think athletes are positioned really uniquely to help develop these leagues that want to grow, especially now that there's private equity in NFL. I think athletes, and specifically football players, need to be figuring out how to get a part of that action. Not just, our superstars like the Tom Brady's and things like that, but how do we create vehicles of funds where we collectively invest in the same games that we help grow?
I agree. And look, the hope is that you have, majority owners that are black that are in this league, because right now I think there's 7, and most of them are on my Denver Broncos. Melody Hobson and Condoleezza Rice. So you always want that to expand.
You've got some minority owners, even the Falcons. You've got like Warwick Dunn, Rashawn Williams. They've got some people in there.
But do you feel like we will have a majority black owner soon?
No, I don't. Soon, no, I would not say that. I don't see anybody giving up their seat for a majority share.
Yeah.
What I do think is that you get more minority owners and athletes as minority investors in these groups, especially as they let in venture. If they're letting in VCs, there's nothing for an athlete to co-invest, right? And so I think there's space if we want to be intentional. Mm-hmm. And I think athletes need to start to educate themselves on how those things work, create vehicles like I've been doing to make sure that we can do it together and tackle these opportunities when they come. But we definitely got to be kicking the door down.
Last thing before we get you out of here, how amazing was the Ohio State season for you?
That was a roller coaster.
Right?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be honest. After we lost to that team up north, I was a little upset. That was a tough one to come back from. But this new college playoff changes really kind of everything. As long as you're in it, you got an opportunity. And I think that team, the way that they rallied after that adversity, to just ignore what everybody's saying, including people like me, and just focus on getting it done. Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, even just the money aspect. I mean, reportedly, $20 million is how much the NIL money was for Ohio State this year, which is just bananas to think about,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get into the NIL stuff. I mean, it's $20 million of, whatever their total budget is for the athletic department that a team makes. So I think they've always had talent.
Yes,
they've got great coaches. I think that had more to do with their success.
I 100% agree with you, but it is so crazy. The Wild West of NIL and where this is going. Malcolm, such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so very much for joining us.
I appreciate you.
And we got more interviews with your favorite athletes, celebrities, and executives right here on Radio Row with Front Office Sports. Don't go anywhere.